Robert Parker sat in his large office on the top floor of Parker Industries. He looked out the big glass windows at the city below. His company was now worth millions of dollars. He had worked hard for 20 years to build it from nothing. Now 500 people worked for him. But something did not feel right. Robert picked up a picture on his desk. It showed a younger version of himself standing in front of a small shop. That was his first business location. Back then, he knew every worker by name. He talked to them every day. He understood their problems, and they understood his goals. Now Robert hardly knew anyone who worked for him. He only met with top managers. The regular workers were just names on paper to him. When was the last time he had walked through the main work areas? He could not remember. His phone rang. It was Linda, his assistant for the last 10 years. "Mr. Parker, the board meeting starts in 15 minutes, she said. "Thank you, Linda. I will be there soon," Robert replied. He stood up and straightened his expensive suit. Another meeting with the same people talking about money and numbers. Nothing about the real people who did the actual work. Robert walked to the meeting room slowly. An idea was growing in his mind. What if he could see how his company really worked? Not through reports and meetings, but by being there with the regular workers. The meeting was long and boring. The other board members talked about cutting costs. One suggested reducing the cleaning staff. "We can save $50,000 a year by cutting 3 janitor positions," said Bill from finance. "Those people are easily replaced." Robert felt uncomfortable. Were janitors really so unimportant? What would happen if no one cleaned the building? How hard was their job? After the meeting, Robert stayed in his office late. When everyone else had gone home, he called his old friend Mike, who ran the building maintenance. "Mike, I need a favor," Robert said. "A strange one." "What is it, Rob?" Mike asked. They had known each other since college. "I want to work as a janitor in my own building for 2 weeks, without anyone knowing who I am." There was silence on the phone. "Are you serious?" Mike finally asked. "Completely serious," Robert said. "I need to see how things really work. I feel disconnected from my own company." Mike laughed. "Well, I guess I could make it happen. We just hired 2 new cleaning staff. I could delay one and put you in temporarily." "Perfect," Robert said. "And you cannot tell anyone. Only you and Linda will know." "This is crazy," Mike said. "But I will help you. When do you want to start?" "Monday," Robert replied. "I need a uniform, a fake name badge, and all the regular equipment." Robert hung up the phone and smiled. For the first time in months, he felt excited. This would be a challenge, but it might help him understand his company better. That weekend, Robert practiced mopping floors in his large house. He watched videos about cleaning techniques. He even bought cheap clothes to wear to and from work. On Sunday night, he looked at himself in the mirror. He had not shaved for 3 days. He wore old jeans and a plain shirt. With a cap on his head, he looked nothing like the CEO of Parker Industries. "Tomorrow," he said to himself, "I become John Davis, new janitor." Little did he know that this decision would change not just his life, but the lives of many others too. Monday morning came too soon. Robert woke up at 4 instead of his usual 7. Janitors started early. He put on the blue uniform Mike had given him and drove to work in an old car he kept for weekend trips. He parked in the public lot across the street instead of his reserved spot. Mike met him at the back entrance where delivery trucks came in. "Ready for this?" Mike asked. He handed Robert a badge that said John Davis and a set of keys. "As ready as I will ever be," Robert replied. Mike showed him to a small room in the basement. 6 other people in blue uniforms were there drinking coffee. They looked tired. "Everyone, this is John," Mike said. "He is new. Please show him what to do." An older man named Sam nodded. "You can work with me today, John." For the next 2 hours, Robert followed Sam around. They emptied trash cans on every floor. Robert was shocked at how heavy the bags became. His back hurt after the first hour. "You will get used to it," Sam said when he noticed Robert struggling. "First week is always the hardest." By 8, the office workers started arriving. Robert kept his head down as he mopped the main lobby. No one said hello. No one even seemed to see him. A young woman dropped her coffee on the floor he had just cleaned. "Sorry," she said without looking at him, and walked away. Robert had to get new cleaning supplies and mop the same spot again. As he worked, he wondered if he had ever done the same thing to the cleaning staff. Around 10, Robert was cleaning the bathrooms on the marketing floor when he heard two men talking by the sinks. "Did you see the email about budget cuts?" one asked. "Yeah, they are probably going to fire more people," the other replied. "But not anyone important. Just support staff like cleaners and mailroom people." Robert froze with his mop in hand. He had not approved any cuts to support staff. The board had discussed it, but no decision had been made. Why were people talking as if it was already happening? At lunch, Robert sat in the corner of the staff cafeteria. The food was not good, and it was expensive. He watched as many workers bought only coffee because they could not afford the meals. He made a note to check the cafeteria contracts. In the afternoon, Sam showed him how to clean the office floors. They worked on the sales department first. "Be careful around Ms. James," Sam warned. "She likes to complain about everything." Just as Sam said this, a woman called out to them. "Excuse me, janitor," she said to Robert. "You missed a spot yesterday. My trash was not emptied." Robert knew this was his first day, so she was wrong. But Sam quickly said, "Sorry, Ms. James, we will take care of it right away." After she left, Robert asked, "Why did you apologize? It was not our fault." Sam shrugged. "Easier that way. No one listens to people like us anyway." Those words hit Robert hard. Was that how the cleaning staff felt? That no one listened to them. Near the end of the day, Robert was mopping near the elevators when a young man in a sales uniform bumped into him. The man looked familiar. "Watch where you are going," the young man said rudely. Then he looked at Robert more closely. "Do I know you?" Robert turned away quickly. "No, sir. Just started today." The young man frowned but walked away. Robert realized it was Tom Wilson, a sales rep he had met at the company party last month. That was close. If anyone recognized him, his plan would fail. By the end of his first week as a janitor, Robert was more tired than he had ever been. His hands were rough from cleaning products. His back hurt all the time. He had a new respect for Sam and the other cleaning staff. On Monday of his second week, Robert was assigned to clean the sales floor alone. As he emptied trash cans, he noticed a young woman still working at her desk. Everyone else had gone home. Her name tag said Emily Chen. She had neat stacks of papers and a photo of an older couple on her desk. "You are here late," Robert said as he approached with his trash cart. Emily looked up and smiled. "Yes, I have to finish these reports for tomorrow." Robert noticed dark circles under her eyes. "Do you always stay late?" he asked. "Most days," she replied. "I want to get promoted to team leader. The position opened 3 months ago." "You must be a hard worker," Robert said. Emily shrugged. "It does not seem to matter. Tom Wilson will probably get the job. His father plays golf with the CEO." Robert felt his face get hot. This was not true. He did not even play golf, and he had never met Tom Wilson's father. "Is that how people get ahead here?" he asked carefully. "That is what everyone says," Emily answered. "I still try my best, though. I have to support my parents. They are both sick." She pointed to the photo on her desk. Robert nodded and continued cleaning. He made a mental note to check who was being considered for the team leader position. The next day, Robert was cleaning the break room when Tom Wilson came in with 2 friends. They did not notice him in the corner. "Did you see the new janitor?" Tom asked. "Something about him seems off." "What do you mean?" one friend asked. He asks too many questions, Tom said, and he looks familiar. Robert kept his head down and moved his mop slowly. Maybe he is a spy from another company, one friend joked. Tom laughed. Or maybe he is the CEO checking up on us. All three men laughed loudly at this. Robert's heart beat faster. Speaking of the CEO, Tom continued, my dad met him at the club last month. Says he promised to put in a good word for me. Robert frowned. He had never met Tom's father, and he did not belong to any club. So you will get the team leader job for sure, one friend said. Of course, Tom replied. Who else would get it? Emily Chen. She is just a nobody who works too much. Robert accidentally hit a chair with his mop. The noise made all three men turn. Hey, janitor, Tom called out. Be more careful. Robert kept his head down. Sorry, sir. Tom walked over and looked at Robert's name tag. John Davis, huh? How long have you worked here? Just a week, Robert mumbled. Well, John Davis, let me give you some advice, Tom said loudly. In this company, it is not what you know but who you know. Remember that. Tom's friends laughed as they left the break room. Robert stood still, holding his mop tightly. He was angry about the lies Tom was telling, but he was more upset that employees believed the only way to get ahead was through connections. That night, Robert called Linda from his car. I need you to send me the files for all team leader candidates in the sales department, he said. Is this related to your undercover work? Linda asked. Yes, Robert replied. I have learned some disturbing things. There is a woman named Emily Chen who works very hard, but thinks she has no chance at promotion because she has no connections. I know her, Linda said. Her performance numbers are the best in the department. She is at the top of the candidate list. And Tom Wilson? Robert asked. Average performance at best, Linda answered. He is not even in the top 5 candidates. Robert nodded to himself. Someone is spreading false information. I need to fix this. The next day, Robert arrived early for his cleaning shift. He found Emily already at her desk working. Good morning, Robert said as he emptied her trash can. Emily looked up with tired eyes but still smiled. Good morning, John. You are here early too. I like the quiet, Robert said. Why are you here so early? I am preparing a new sales plan, Emily explained. I think we could save money by changing how we contact customers. Robert was curious. How would that work? Emily showed him some papers on her desk. Right now, we call every customer the same way. But I looked at the data. Some customers prefer email. Some like phone calls. If we contact each customer the way they like best, we save time and make more sales. Robert was impressed. This was exactly the kind of thinking the company needed. That is very smart, he said. Have you shared this with your manager? Emily's smile faded. I tried. Mr. Phillips said he was too busy to look at it. May I see it? Robert asked. I used to work in sales before I became a janitor. Emily hesitated but then handed him her report. Robert read it carefully. It was excellent work with clear data and smart suggestions. If implemented, it could increase sales by at least 15%. This is great work, Robert said honestly. Your manager should listen to you. Thank you, Emily said. But it does not matter. No one listens to ideas from regular sales staff. Later that morning, Robert was cleaning the executive floor bathrooms when he overheard Mr. Phillips talking to another manager. Tom Wilson is perfect for the team leader position, Phillips was saying. His father knows people on the board. It could help my career. What about Emily Chen? The other manager asked. I heard her numbers are the best. Phillips laughed. Numbers are not everything. We need someone with connections. That is how you move up in this company. Robert gripped his cleaning cloth tightly. He had never told managers to promote people based on connections. In fact, he had always stressed the importance of performance in company meetings. Had his message been completely lost? At lunch, Robert sat with Sam, and the other janitors in the basement break room. "Does anyone ever ask for your ideas about how to improve things?" Robert asked them. They all laughed. "Are you joking?" Sam said. "No one even sees us unless something is dirty." "But you see everything," Robert said. "You must have good ideas." An older woman named Maria nodded. "I have worked here 12 years. I see so much waste. Light left on all night, water running, broken things that could be fixed easily. I told the manager once, but he just ignored me." Robert listened as the janitor shared story after story about problems they had noticed and solutions they had suggested. No one had ever listened to them. That afternoon, Robert was mopping near the elevators when Tom Wilson and his friends stepped out. They walked right across his wet floor, leaving dirty footprints. "Excuse me," Robert said. "The floor is wet." Tom turned around with an annoyed look. "So mop it again. That is your job." "It would save time if you could walk around," Robert suggested. Tom stepped closer to Robert. "Listen, janitor. Do you know who I am? My father plays golf with Robert Parker himself. I will be a team leader next week. Then maybe I will be your boss too." One of Tom's friends laughed. "Can you imagine? Tom is the boss of the janitors too." Tom grinned. "If I was, I would fire this one first. He asks too many questions." As they walked away laughing, Robert stood still with his mop. He had never been spoken to like that in his life. Is this how his employees treated each other? Is this what people thought about him? That he played golf with board members and promoted people based on connections? Robert went to the janitor closet and called Linda on his cell phone. "I have seen enough," he said quietly. "Set up a company-wide meeting for Friday at 10 a.m. It is time for me to come back." On Thursday night, Robert sat in his apartment looking at all the notes he had taken during his time as a janitor. He had learned so much about his company, things that reports and meetings had never shown him. He thought about Emily and her great ideas that no one would listen to. He thought about the janitors who saw problems every day but were ignored. He thought about the managers who believed that connections were more important than hard work. Robert took out a pen and began to write a letter. This letter would change things. He worked on it for hours until it was perfect. The next morning, Robert did not put on his janitor uniform. Instead, he wore his best suit. He drove his own car to work and parked in his reserved spot. He walked in through the front door for the first time in 2 weeks. The security guard looked surprised. "Good morning, Mr. Parker. We have not seen you lately." "I have been here every day," Robert replied with a smile. "Just not as myself." Robert went to his office where Linda was waiting. "Welcome back," she said. "You look different." Robert laughed. 2 weeks of cleaning toilets will change a person." "The company meeting is set for 10 a.m., Linda told him. "Everyone will be there." "Good," Robert said. "And did you prepare the other things I asked for?" Linda nodded. "Everything is ready." At 10 a.m., Robert stood outside the large meeting room. He could see all the employees inside, talking and wondering why there was a sudden meeting. He saw Emily sitting quietly in the back. He saw Tom Wilson in the front row looking important. Robert took a deep breath and walked in. The room went quiet as everyone saw him. He walked to the front and placed his janitor uniform and name tag on the table. "Good morning," he said. "For those who do not know me, I am Robert Parker, the CEO of this company. For the past 2 weeks, I have been working here as John Davis, a janitor." There were gasps and whispers. Tom Wilson's face turned white. "I did this because I felt disconnected from the real work that happens here," Robert continued. "I wanted to see our company through different eyes. What I saw both troubled and inspired me." Robert looked around the room. "I learned that many of you believe that the only way to advance in this company is through connections. That who you know matters more than how well you work." Many people looked down, avoiding his eyes. "I learned that good ideas are being ignored because of who suggests them," Robert said. "I learned that some managers are more focused on their own careers than on what is best for our company. Robert picked up the janitor name tag, and I learned that some of the hardest working people in this building are treated as if they are invisible. The room was completely silent now. "This stops today," Robert said firmly. "Starting now, we are changing how things work." Robert picked up a stack of papers. "First, I am implementing a new promotion system. All promotions will be based on performance data and innovative ideas, not on who you know or who you play golf with." He saw some managers shift uncomfortably in their seats. "Second, we are creating an ideas program. Anyone, at any level, can submit ideas for improving our company. Each idea will be reviewed, and the best ones will be implemented with credit given to the person who suggested it." Robert looked directly at the janitors who were standing at the back of the room. "Third, we are forming a workplace improvement team that will include representatives from every department, including maintenance staff." Then Robert picked up an envelope. "Finally, I have a letter here. It is for someone who showed exceptional work and character during my time as a janitor." Robert walked through the room to where Emily sat. "Emily Chen, this is for you." Emily looked shocked as she took the envelope with shaking hands. She opened it and read silently. Her eyes grew wide. "This letter officially promotes you to Senior Sales Director," Robert announced to the room. "Your performance numbers are the best in the department, and your new customer contact strategy will be implemented immediately." The room burst into applause. Emily stood up with tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Mr. Parker," she said. "I do not know what to say." "You do not need to say anything," Robert replied. "Your work speaks for itself." As Robert walked back to the front of the room, he passed by Tom Wilson, who looked both angry and embarrassed. "Mr. Wilson," Robert said quietly, "I do not play golf, and I have never met your father. Remember that next time you try to use my name to scare a janitor." The meeting ended with a mix of shock, excitement, and worry. Some managers looked nervous. Other employees seemed hopeful. Emily could not stop smiling as people congratulated her. Robert called Sam and the other janitors to his office after the meeting. "I want to thank you all," Robert said. "You taught me more about this company than any report ever did." "We just did our jobs," Sam said, looking uncomfortable in the big office. "That is exactly my point," Robert replied. "You did your jobs well even when no one noticed or thanked you." Maria, the older janitor, spoke up. "Will things really change, Mr. Parker? Or is this just talk?" Robert respected her direct question. "Things will really change, Maria, starting with this." He handed each of them an envelope. Inside was a letter giving them all a raise and making them part of the new workplace improvement team. "You see this building every day from top to bottom," Robert said. "I need your eyes and ideas to make it better." The janitors looked at their letters with surprise. No one had ever asked for their help before. Later that day, Robert called Mr. Phillips to his office. The sales manager looked nervous. "You wanted to see me, sir?" Phillips asked. "Yes," Robert said. "I heard some interesting things while I was working as a janitor, including a conversation where you said Tom Wilson should get the team leader position because of his supposed connections to me." Phillips turned red. "I can explain." "You also ignored an excellent improvement plan from Emily Chen," Robert continued. "A plan that could have increased sales by 15%. "I was very busy," Phillips stammered. Robert leaned forward. "Here is what will happen now. You will apologize to Emily. You will review every idea from your team members, no matter who suggests it. And you will attend the new management training program I am creating." "Yes, sir," Phillips said quietly. "I believe people can change," Robert said. "That includes you. But from now on, performance and good ideas matter, not connections. Do you understand?" Phillips nodded and left the office. Robert knew some managers would resist the changes, but he was prepared for that. At the end of the day, Robert walked through the building. He stopped at Emily's desk where she was packing up her things to move to her new office. "How are you feeling?" he asked. Still shocked, Emily admitted, but happy. Thank you for seeing my work. I should thank you, Robert said. You reminded me what matters in business: good ideas and hard work. May I ask you something? Emily said. Why did you do it? Why become a janitor? Robert thought for a moment. I built this company from nothing. But as it grew bigger, I lost touch with what was happening inside it. Reports and meetings only show what people want you to see. Emily nodded. And what was the hardest part? Being invisible, Robert said without hesitation. People walked past me like I did not exist. They made messes and expected someone else to clean them up. No one said thank you. I said thank you, Emily reminded him with a small smile. Yes, you did, Robert agreed. That is one reason why I know you will be a great leader. You see people, all people, not just the ones who can help your career. As Robert walked back to his office, he passed Tom Wilson clearing out his desk. After the meeting, Tom had yelled at Robert in front of everyone, claiming the CEO was playing favorites. His outburst had only proven that he was not ready for any leadership role. Tom looked up as Robert passed. You ruined everything, he said angrily. Robert stopped. No, Tom. You ruined things yourself by lying about knowing me and treating others poorly. What will I do now? Tom asked. That depends on you, Robert replied. You can leave the company, or you can learn from this and become the kind of person who earns respect through work, not false claims. Tom looked surprised at this answer. He had expected to be fired immediately. Everyone deserves a second chance, Robert said. Even you. But it is your choice what you do with it. A month passed. The changes Robert started were not easy. Some managers resisted the new ways. 2 even quit. But most employees welcomed the new direction of the company. Emily excelled in her new role as senior sales director. Her customer contact strategy increased sales by 17% in just 3 weeks. She formed a team that included people who had good ideas but had been ignored before. One morning, Robert arrived at work to find a surprise. The lobby had been changed overnight. There were new plants, better lights, and the old worn chairs had been replaced with comfortable new ones. Who did this? Robert asked the front desk worker. The workplace improvement team, she replied with a smile. Maria led the project. Robert went to find Maria. She was directing the janitors in a new morning routine she had developed. The lobby looks amazing, Robert told her. Maria stood up straighter. Thank you. We found a way to do it for half the budget you gave us, so we used the extra money to get better cleaning supplies too. Why better supplies? Robert asked. They are safer for us to use, Maria explained. No more harsh chemicals that hurt our hands and lungs, and they work better too. Robert nodded, impressed. This was exactly the kind of practical improvement he had hoped for. We have more ideas, Maria added. Sam is working on a new recycling system, and George has a plan to save electricity. I cannot wait to see them, Robert said honestly. Later that day, Robert visited the sales floor. The energy there was completely different. People were excited and working together instead of competing against each other. Emily saw him and came over. Mr. Parker, I have someone I want you to meet. She introduced him to a young man named David. David just started last month in the mailroom, but he had an amazing idea about our packaging. Robert listened as David explained his plan to use different packaging that cost less and was better for the environment. It was a simple change that could save thousands of dollars. I would never have heard this idea in the old system, Robert realized. David would have stayed in the mailroom with no way to share his ideas. Exactly, Emily agreed. Now everyone knows their ideas matter. At lunch, Robert decided to eat in the staff cafeteria instead of his office. As he walked in, he noticed the food looked different. We improved the menu, the cashier told him, and lowered prices. More people eat here now, so we can charge less per meal. Robert sat at a table with some office workers. At first, they seemed nervous to have the CEO join them, But soon they were talking normally and sharing thoughts about work. The best thing about the changes, one woman said, is that we feel like we matter now. Like what we do and think is important. Robert nodded. This was exactly what he had hoped to hear. After lunch, Robert passed Tom Wilson in the hallway. Tom had decided to stay with the company. At first he had been angry and difficult, but lately he seemed different. "How are things going?" Robert asked him. Tom looked surprised that the CEO was talking to him. "Better," he admitted. "I am learning a lot from Emily. She is a good teacher." "She put you on her team?" Robert asked, surprised. Tom nodded. "She said everyone deserves a chance to prove themselves by their work, not their words." "She is right," Robert said. "Are you taking that chance?" "I am trying," Tom replied. "It is hard to change. But I see now that real respect comes from what you do, not who you know." Robert smiled. This was an unexpected but welcome development. Emily was not just a good worker but a good leader who could see potential in others. As Robert walked back to his office, he saw Sam teaching a new janitor how to use the equipment. "Remember," Sam was saying, "you are an important part of this company. What you do matters." Robert smiled to himself. The message was spreading. Everyone matters. Everyone has value. It was a simple idea, but a powerful one. Back in his office, Robert looked at the company numbers. Productivity was up. Sales were up. Costs were down. Even employee sick days were down, showing that people were happier and healthier at work. The experiment that had started with him putting on a janitor uniform had changed everything. By seeing his company through different eyes, he had found its true potential. 6 months passed. Parker Industries had changed in ways that surprised even Robert. The workplace improvement team had transformed the building. Energy costs were down by 30%. Recycling had increased. The cafeteria now served good food at fair prices. Even the bathrooms were nicer. But the biggest change was in how people worked together. Ideas flowed from all levels of the company. A cleaning woman had suggested a better way to organize the supply room that saved thousands of dollars. A security guard had an idea for improving building safety. A young intern created a new computer program that made work faster. One morning, Robert called Emily to his office. "I want to show you something," he said, handing her a business magazine. On the cover was a picture of Parker Industries with the headline, "The Most Innovative Company of the Year." Emily smiled as she read the article. It described how Parker Industries had changed its culture to value all employees and their ideas. The article called it a new model for business success. "This is amazing," Emily said. "And well-deserved." "We have come a long way," Robert agreed. "But I called you here for another reason." He handed her a folder. Inside was a proposal to create a new position called Chief Innovation Officer. The job would involve finding and developing good ideas from all parts of the company. "I want you to take this position," Robert said. "You have proven that you can see value in people and ideas that others miss." Emily looked stunned. "Me? But I have only been a director for 6 months. And in that time you have shown exactly the skills this job needs," Robert replied. "You put Tom on your team when everyone else had given up on him. Now he is one of our best salespeople. He just needed a chance to prove himself by his work instead of his talk," Emily said. "Exactly," Robert agreed. "You look for potential in people and ideas. That is what we need in this role." Emily took a deep breath. "Thank you for this opportunity. I will not let you down." That afternoon, Robert visited the maintenance office where Sam and Maria were working on schedules. "How are things going with the new staff?" Robert asked. Since the company had grown, they had hired 10 new janitors and maintenance workers. "Very good," Sam replied. "They all understand our new way of working. Everyone contributes ideas, not just muscle." "And the training program?" Robert asked. Maria smiled proudly. "It is going well. We even had 2 managers take the training to learn building operations. They said it helps them understand the whole company better." That is good to hear, Robert said. I have been thinking about making that part of all management training. Everyone should understand all aspects of the company. As Robert walked back to his office, he passed the sales floor. Tom was on the phone with a customer. Robert stopped to listen. "No, we want your honest feedback," Tom was saying. "Even if it is not what we want to hear. That is how we improve." Robert smiled to himself. Tom really had changed. He had learned that real success comes from honest work and listening to others. Near the elevators, Robert saw a woman he did not recognize looking lost. "Can I help you?" he asked. "I am looking for human resources," she said. "I have a job interview." "Down that hallway, third door on the right," Robert told her. "What position are you interviewing for?" "Administrative assistant," she replied. "But I am nervous. I do not have much experience." "Do not worry about that," Robert said kindly. "This company values people who work hard and have good ideas more than experience." "Really?" She looked surprised. "That is not what most companies say." "We are not most companies," Robert explained. "Everyone here matters. From the CEO to the newest janitor." "That sounds too good to be true," she said. Robert smiled. "A year ago, I would have thought the same thing, but we have proven it works. By the way, I am Robert Parker." The woman's eyes widened. "The CEO. I did not expect to meet you." "That is another thing about this company," Robert said with a smile. "Everyone talks to everyone." "Good luck with your interview. Just be yourself and share your ideas." Later that day, Robert met with his executive team. They were discussing the company's rapid growth and success. "The business magazines are calling it the Parker method," one executive said. "They want you to write a book about it." Robert laughed. "Maybe someday. But the real story would have to include my time as a janitor, and how seeing the company from that perspective changed everything." "Would you really share that?" another executive asked. "Of course," Robert replied. "It is the most important lesson I ever learned. Every person in a company has value. Every job matters. And good ideas can come from anywhere." As the meeting ended, Robert looked out his office window at the city below. He could see the whole building of Parker Industries from there. But now he knew what he could not see was just as important. The daily work of hundreds of people. The ideas that might never be heard. The potential waiting to be discovered. The janitor uniform still hung in his office closet. It reminded him every day of what he had learned from his 2 weeks cleaning floors and emptying trash cans. The most valuable lesson of his career. A year after Robert had worked as a janitor, Parker Industries was hosting a special event. The company had grown to twice its previous size. They had opened 2 new buildings and hired hundreds of new employees. Today was the first annual Everyone Matters Day. All employees from every level of the company would share a meal together and celebrate their success. Robert stood on the stage in the large company courtyard. Behind him was a banner that read, "Every person, every idea, every day." He looked out at the crowd of employees, old and new faces, people from all departments sitting together. "A year ago," Robert began, "I put on a janitor uniform and cleaned this building for 2 weeks. I did it because I felt disconnected from the real work of this company." He paused and looked at Sam and Maria, who were sitting in the front row. "What I learned changed everything," Robert continued. "I discovered that while I was focusing on reports and numbers, I was missing the most valuable part of this company. Its people." Emily sat nearby, now one of the top executives as Chief Innovation Officer. Next to her was her team, including Tom Wilson, who had become one of her best idea scouts. "I learned that a company is not its building or its products," Robert said. "It is the people who work there. All of them. And when everyone feels valued, when everyone knows their ideas matter, amazing things happen." He pointed to a large screen that showed the company achievements over the past year. Sales up 60%. Costs down 20%. Employee satisfaction at record levels. New innovative products. Awards and recognition from the business world. None of this would have happened if we had continued to operate the old way, Robert explained, where only certain people were heard, where some jobs were seen as less important than others. Robert walked across the stage and picked up a janitor uniform that was displayed on a stand. "This uniform taught me the most important business lesson of my life," he said. "That true success comes when we value every person, listen to every idea, and respect every job." The crowd applauded. Many had heard the story of their CEO becoming a janitor, but it had become something of a company legend. To honor this lesson, Robert continued, "We are starting a new tradition today. Every year, 10 people from management will spend 1 week working in a different job in the company. They will learn what that job involves and listen to the ideas of the people who do it every day." There were surprised murmurs from the crowd. "I will be the first to participate again," Robert announced. "Next week, I will be working in the mailroom. Not as the CEO, but as a mail clerk." The mailroom staff cheered and laughed. "And now," Robert said, "I want to recognize someone special. Someone who showed me kindness when I was just a janitor named John. Someone who saw value in people when others did not." Emily looked surprised as Robert called her to the stage. Emily Chen started as a sales representative who worked late every night. Robert told the crowd, "When I was a janitor, she was the only person who always said hello and treated me with respect. She did not know I was the CEO. She was just being herself." Emily blushed as people applauded. Emily saw potential in Tom Wilson when everyone else had given up on him, Robert continued. She gave him a chance to prove himself by his work instead of his words. Now he leads our team that finds new talent. Tom stood up and clapped loudly. As our Chief Innovation Officer, Emily has created a system that has discovered hundreds of great ideas from people at all levels of the company, Robert said. And today, I am proud to announce that she will be our new Chief Operating Officer. The crowd erupted in cheers. Emily looked shocked. "But that is the second highest position in the company," she stammered. "Yes," Robert agreed. "And you have earned it by seeing the value in people and ideas that others missed. Just like you saw value in a tired old janitor who was really the CEO." As Emily accepted her new position, Robert looked out at all the employees, from the newest hire to those who had been with the company for decades. Each one mattered. Each one had value. Each one had ideas worth hearing. After the ceremony, Robert walked through the crowd, talking to people from all departments. He stopped when he saw the young woman he had met by the elevators a year ago, the one who had been nervous about her job interview. "Hello," he said. "You got the job." "I see." She smiled. "Yes, as an administrative assistant, but now I work in product development. Someone actually listened to my ideas." "That is what we do here," Robert said with a smile. As the day ended, Robert found himself standing with Sam and Maria near the janitor closet where his journey had started. "Did you ever think that your advice to a new janitor named John would change an entire company?" Robert asked them. Sam laughed. "We just told you the truth. Everyone deserves respect. Every job matters. And every idea is worth hearing," Maria added. "The simplest lessons are often the most powerful," Robert said. "Thank you for teaching them to me." As Robert walked back to his office, he passed the janitor uniform now displayed in a case in the main lobby. Under it was a plaque that read, "Every person matters. Every job is important. Every idea deserves to be heard." It was a simple message, but it had changed everything. One CEO, one janitor uniform, and a letter that had changed not just Emily's life, but the lives of everyone in the company.